I want to welcome you back to part 2 of our preparation video for betraying spouses, getting ready for full disclosure. What I want to do now is walk you through your preparation as the betraying spouse. As I mentioned before, we're writing out our full disclosure in a letter form. The reason we strongly recommend writing out your disclosure is to be sure we're getting all the information out to our betrayed spouse. Writing allows us to map out what information we have identified and see any gaps or missing pieces. It also provides our betrayed spouse with a clear picture of what has happened, one they can refer back to moving forward when they forget details or have a question. There are 4 areas of the infidelity we are addressing in our full disclosure letter. The first is my behaviors or actions. The second is my thoughts or motivations. The third are my emotions, and the fourth is my impact. The first area really is the easiest, my behaviors or actions. As a betraying spouse, I'm going to map out what I have done as a part of my infidelity, when these things occurred, where, and with whom they happened. I'm giving this information in a helpful level of detail. You may ask, what's a helpful level of detail? Well, I'm not being vague or general in what I've done. An example of this would be to say, well, I had sex with my affair partner on a few occasions. That's way too general. However, I'm also not giving a level of detail that paints what we would call an explicit mental image of what has happened. For instance, I used to meet my affair partner at the hotel by my work, and she would rent a room and meet me at the door with wearing red lingerie, and we would have sex in the following positions, all right? This kind of detail is not helpful to your betrayed spouse in healing. I am giving a helpful level of detail. So let me give an example of that. In January of last year, my affair partner and I met 3 times at the hotel by my work. I would tell my boss I was going out on a sales call or had a personal errand to run. I would leave work and meet the affair partner at the hotel where we had unprotected sex. I paid for the hotel each time and hid the financial records from you. That month, I spent about $300 on the hotel rooms we used. Now, that's the end of the details part or behaviors part of what we need to reveal. The next 3 areas are actually harder because they're going to require greater soul searching. You see, infidelity is not merely a behavior, it's a deep struggle in our mind and heart. Our behavior, the acts of infidelity, are an outward expression of the deeper inward struggle. Full disclosure is not simply about the confession of our actions, it's about moving into compassionate remorse. Compassionate remorse is where we're willing to look at the dark place our thoughts and emotions had gone, making us capable of such devastating behavior. It's vulnerable, it's painful, and it's absolutely necessary. Let's start with my thoughts and motivations. When you've found your way to infidelity, you can be sure there's a long trail of thoughts and motivations which lead you there. Unless you took your marital vows really lightly, and most people don't, there had to be serious changes in the way you were thinking. You may have changed in the way you thought about your spouse, or your marriage, or even God. As difficult as it may be, explore and write out your thoughts and motives, what they were. Now, my emotions. Take time to identify what you were feeling. Again, what you felt or perhaps currently feel may be difficult to admit. After all, as a betraying spouse, your emotions may not be what they're supposed to be. You may be angry or frustrated with being caught. You may be missing or longing for the connection you had in the infidelity. But we've got to share the emotions of what we feel. We've got to be vulnerable and real. Finally, I want to take some time in my impact letter to express my understanding about how what I've done has impacted my spouse, myself, and others. You can't know exactly what it's like to be in other people's shoes, especially your betrayed spouse. But the fact that you are willing to explore what it might be like for them is an act of true compassionate remorse. You're not simply saying, I committed infidelity. You're letting yourself go into just how devastating and painful this has been for your spouse. You're not focusing solely on your sorrow. You're empathizing with the damage you've caused. We've put an example disclosure letter on the website for you to reference, including all 4 components. Your MCO counselor will also have additional example disclosures specific to different kinds of infidelities, including porn or sexual addiction, emotional infidelity, and grooming infidelity, to name a few. Use these examples to begin to craft and create your full disclosure letter. Well, we hope this video has been a help and an encouragement to you. We would just want you to know that as you take these steps, these are things that are going to be helpful to you in healing, that your tomorrow is going to be better than it is today.